Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CLeM Strange Horticulture Q&A panel. I'm Ben, the community manager here at Iceberg Interactive, and today we'll be talking to the teams behind both Strange Horticulture and CLeM about their creative processes and about the creativity behind making video games. It's been 2 years since we immersed ourselves in the cozy yet eerie world of Undermere in Strange Horticulture by Bad Viking, a beautiful game of mystery, murder, and cats. And now, 2 years later, we find ourselves on the cusp of releasing another puzzle game that combines this light, cute aesthetic with a little bit of darkness, which is CLeM by Mango Protocol. They're both boundary pushing games that sprawl with creativity and a particular attention to art and creative expression behind game design. And that's why we decided to hop on a call with both dev teams to talk about the creative side of making indie games. So yeah, without further ado, I think it would be best if we started with a little round of introductions.
Who wants to go first? I guess I'll go first. Hi, I'm Rob. I'm one of the developers of Strange Horticulture at Bad Viking. Sadly, my brother, who's my partner in crime, couldn't be here today to join this chat, but I'll be representing Bad Viking and hopefully have some interesting stuff to say.
Oh, okay. I'm Jordi. I'm the game designer at Mango Protocol, game designer for CLeM too. And yes, it's two of us here today. The one missing is Javi, is the narrative director and programmer and producer, and he does so many things. So he couldn't be here today. So.
Yeah, that's true. He's here, but you cannot see him because Hi, I'm Mariona. Look at him. I'm Mariona. I'm the art director at Mango Protocol, and I'm the third person in crime making CLeM. And well, I hope we can talk about some things that you find interesting today.
I hope so too. So you've all been active in the gaming sphere and making games for a few years now. Mango Protocol, you've made an entire series of games called the Psychotic Adventure series. I know that Bad Viking did a lot of browser games. Some I've actually played back in the day.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So when did sort of the first seed for both CLeM and Strange Horticulture sort of start sprawling, and how did you go from that initial idea to actually making the final game?
Well, for Strange Horticulture, that was there was a very definite seed. I literally walked past the sign and I saw the word horticulture written on it, and we already had these kind of ideas for something a little bit dark, a little bit mysterious, and I hadn't made any sort of plant connection yet, but I saw the word horticulture. I immediately thought, Strange Horticulture, that's a cool name for a game. And I went back and told my brother John, who's the artist on Strange Horticulture, and he loved it, and we kind of took it from there. But it all started with just the name of the game, which is probably not a usual starting point for a game idea.
Yeah, that's fun. I think we have kind of something similar because CLeM was born in 2007, something like that, 2006.
Oh, wow. A long time ago.
Yeah, because I was at the university making projects because I study fine arts, and I was doing some sort of different kinds of graphic projects, like a comic and a visual novel and that kind of things. And I create the script for a short film, not an animated film, a puppet film, like the Jim Henson ones.
Yeah.
And I made this story for make the script. The assignment was just the script, and I made the script. I got my grades. I get out of the university, and everything was fine. And the script was abandoned, like forgotten in a drawer. And we kept it in that draw, for 10 years or 10, 11 years. And when we finished our previous game, Colossus Down, we were looking what to do next, because we tried to start one game when it's really close to end the other. Like the wheel is not stopping, so we are continue producing. Because we are a small team, we cannot stop making things, because it's expensive to make video games, and you need this wheel to keep running. This is like why and where it came from CLeM. We took that script and Jordi made it a video game, because it was a little movie, and it was not interactive at all. But yeah, we took that concept and make it in a video game. So yeah, it's another unusual way to make a video game.
yeah, that's really cool. What I love about that is just how stuff kind of sticks with you sometimes. Like you come up with an idea a long time ago, and maybe that gets reshaped into something new. And we kind of did that ourselves with Strange Horticulture as well, because a lot of certainly the map element of the game, that came from a board game prototype that we'd made like months earlier, and had kind of just abandoned and decided that it wasn't going to go anywhere. But then we took the ideas from that, we suddenly realized, there's something really cool here that we can use in this computer game. Yeah,
absolutely. It gives me that board game vibes, because you have this table with the drawers and with the pieces, and they look like actual pieces you would have in a board game, like to put in over a card or something to reveal the mystery of what you are looking for, the puzzle. So yeah, now that you are saying, it makes total sense.
I mean, you might be able to see behind me that I do enjoy the odd board games. So yeah, that was definitely a very intentional thing. That whole tactile side of things came from board games, because I enjoy them.
Very interesting to see that it's sort of in a way self-referential process that you go through, where you take stuff you've previously worked on and let that influence your work. But we've already mentioned Jim Henson, who I'm also a huge fan of, and I know that, for example, nu metal also played quite the significant role while playing CLeM. Do you have sort of any other inspirations that aren't necessarily games that influenced you while making your games?
I always struggle a bit when I get questions about my inspiration for the design side of the game, because I really love video games, but I'm a really bad indie representative, because I love the indie industry and getting together with other indies. I love game jams. I'm always participating in game jams, but at home, maybe 80% of what I play are AAA games. Because they are like an escape for me.
Well done.
So yeah, when I design, I certainly don't tend to have these many rich references that people who play a lot of indie games tend to have. So yeah, I take a lot of ideas of my everyday life, and I'm a very curious person, so I'm always reading random stuff on Reddit or around the interwebs.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. You go.
Well, I was going to say that actually the game you are illustrating very, very good, that we took more reference from the real world than other video games. For example, the house is based on my grandparents' house. House. And also we took reference from making it's not making. It's going to different roomscapes. We got like the roomscape fever some years back, and we were like almost every week making these activities with our friends, and I think the vibe of the game is more of this activity to get like locked in a house and you face like lots of riddles and puzzles and notes and pieces of information you need to put together, and like the actual house that is based on a real house that exists in the real world. So it's this thing I think illustrates really, really well what Jordi was saying, that we are not really good at making references to other video games in our games. We tend to do to other kind of things, another media, another, like you said before, Ben, to metal music, covers for the character design, that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, we are huge room escape enthusiasts. But I don't know, sometimes one of the puzzles in CLeM comes from an episode of The Simpsons, so I find references in not so fancy places sometimes, but I can go to the other side and see that another puzzle is based on an old encryption method that some monks in Spain invented to communicate between them secretly. So this sounds more enlightened than I was watching The Simpsons when I was like 14, and they did this funny episode about a mirror code, and I got the idea here for one of the puzzles you find there. So everywhere more or less.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I perhaps play a few more indie games than it sounds like you do, but in terms of inspiration, it's everything, isn't it? It's all the the TV, the film, the books, everything that you consume, and as you say, like drawing stuff from your life as well, and past experiences. As I said before, board games were quite a big influence on Strange Horticulture, but also just stuff like the setting of the game is where we used to go on holiday when we were kids. So it's drawing on stuff like that, and there's a lot of natural world influences in there as well. So it's definitely we're inspired by games, but then you draw on lots of other stuff when you're actually putting your own game together, don't you?
Yeah, and I think sometimes you are not conscious of all the influence you can have for your games, your creations in a major scale. If we talk about not just games and everything you do, you would need to make like an exercise to evaluate like everything, and maybe you will find out that you have a lot more of influences and things that put an important part into your game or into your thing than you anticipated in the first time. Because I think we are like a sponge. We are so porous, and we are
some of us.
No, I think it's a thing from it's my opinion, Jordi. I think people it's from this thing is from the human condition. We are molded for our experience in our life, and I think it's not possible to make things like in a bubble where anything comes from the outside. Even though your outside can be really small and you can be inside a relatively small bubble, but this bubble will influence everything you will do. So I think it's a really cool thing for making video games, like embrace this this process of being influenced.
Yeah, and I think video games in particular, they allow you to, I guess, just explore just such a wide variety. I mean, yes, you can do it in book and in film. You can tell great stories and you can do cool visual stuff, but I feel like video games is the one medium where you get to draw on all that stuff. Like there's sound, there's art, there's narrative, and there's the interactive element as well. It's a fun medium to work in.
Right, you just mentioned sound, so let's maybe move on to that. What role does the sound and music play in your game, and how do you use it to sort of immerse the player more in your worlds?
I mean, it's mostly just about it's a tone setter for us at least. It gives you the atmosphere. You can but it's not just the sound, is it? It's that combination of the sound and the aesthetic, the visuals. They go together and they bounce off each other. And I don't know if I'm just talking complete bullshit here, but like, it feels like, there's something there, right? Where music in particular can evoke emotion and feeling. And then the sound just kind of, again, it can give atmosphere. Like in our game in particular, we were going for this, I guess, dark but cozy vibe to it. So a lot of the sound is quite rich, and spooky, but in some ways that's in contrast to some of the visual elements that are these like soft, warm colors, and lots of natural colors. But then you've got like the sound of, on rainy days, we have the rain pattering against the window, and it just makes you feel like you're in that cozy environment.
Yeah, I would say that generally speaking, for me at least, music is in charge of setting the mood of the ambient, and then sound effects help you bring the player down to earth and place them exactly where you want them to be, because this quite small and super short sound effect and sometimes are the thing that just makes it feel real. And I think our mind plays some cool tricks when you hear these sounds. For example, I think people when playing CLeM may not notice that almost every action that the character does uses the same animation, but we have like different sound effects when doing things. So inside your head, you hear this sound effect and you imagine that maybe he's placing I don't know, a bottle on top of a wooden table, and in another instance maybe it is I don't know, picking up a broom from the ground. And it's exactly the same animation, but when you hear the sound effect, like your mind just completes this action. And if you ask the player after a short session, how many different animations did you see the character do to pick up things, maybe they will be like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. No, it was the same animation all the time, but you kept hearing like different sounds, and just your mind like it takes you there, and you generate like extra material inside your head.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Hmm.
I don't know about you guys, what your approach is to sound effects, but the way that we always seem to do it is we make the game first, and then we do sound. Like, it's one of the last things that we do is put all the sound effects in one go towards the end. So we actually, we're kind of in development. The game is on mute basically, and we have no sound. And then suddenly you put it in, and it's just like, oh wow, yeah, it just suddenly gains this whole new layer to it that wasn't there before.
Wow, no, we work with the audio guy like from not day one, but maybe day two. Yeah. Our first builds, our first iteration of the game that has already audio on it, audio effects and music and
right.
Everything that can be possible being on it, because I think for us it's really important to keep the process, like if we need to iterate or maybe change things or modify things to make it work better when the final audio is going to be there. So we work like, we are aware that maybe our approach is not like the classic one. You are maybe like more in the...
I don't know. I've definitely spoken to other devs who do it more like you. I mean, I haven't spoken to a lot of people that do it our way, so I don't know. I don't know what the normal way of doing it is, but that's just what we found works for us. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, normal, I think maybe it doesn't fit in this thing, but I understand. But from the experience from our side, talking to other devs, there's a lot of devs that keep like the audio for the last, because we talk with our musician and audio guy, and he was like a little bit angry with with that kind of people that waits like until last minute to work on the audio, and he's always a little bit mad, like, these damn people like waiting for the last time, and then we need to run and rush. But yeah, we really like to work.
Maybe it has to do with the fact that you do the effects yourselves, right?
Yeah, well, so we do some effects, but we also just like sourcing sound effects from lots of different places. Yeah,
it's easier for you. I mean, you have the idea of what you want to do in your head, and you do it yourself. In our case, sometimes we can get really picky with things that are done by third parties. So we try to start working on them early on to be able to ping pong with them until we get exactly what we were looking for. And I think it may be easier fighting yourself. Even if you left it for the last step of the production, but you have already a clear vision in your mind, and you know what you want, and you go straight for it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Maybe we should try doing the SFX ourselves for the next project and leaving them for
it's quite fun actually. I do quite enjoy it. Like sometimes recording my own sound effects, that's quite fun. But then also like I quite like grabbing different sound effects from lots of different places, and then I mean, everyone, I assume people use Audacity. That's what I use, just because it's free software and you can, tweak the sound effect and blend stuff together so that you get exactly what you want. Yeah, it's fun.
Do you usually work more with library effects, or you do your Foley and start tinkering with things?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Mostly library effects and blending stuff together. But we do record the occasional stuff ourselves, a bit of Foley.
Yeah, you've both, as we've seen, pay a lot of care and attention to creating these worlds, and these worlds that you create are expansive. When I think of the sort of entirety of the Psychotic Adventures cinematic universe, gamematic universe, or this like very rich world of Undermere, how do you go about building these worlds? And is it sort of like you start from the narrative and then branch out into this world building, or do you start with the world and then think, how can I place the story I want to tell within this story world?
We are 10 years into making, well, more than 10 years into making video games. And at this point of our lives, we just try to make the puzzle get a place together. And when we create a new game, a new project, we try to make it in a kind of way that makes sense in the existing universe. So right now we are more focused in taking material from previous games, previous characters. Sometimes our fans love a really secondary character that appears like 5 minutes in a scene, and they really enjoy the character, and we decide to make a video game out of the character, for example. So we work more in trying to setting the story inside of the universe, and then we expand it, of course, but it's like mandatory for us to that story to fit. To kind of fit in the whole Psychotic Adventures universe.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because it sounds like you've got this whole like back world. I'm interested in how you keep all that in your head. Do you go back and look at your old work and kind of reference it?
In fact. That's absolutely a coincidence, but I got this folder, and
nice.
Here, like, I have all kinds of material, and I keep this like in the office. Well, right now in our house, but back then in the office. And when we need to get ideas for characters, for some inspiration, we open the folder and we scavenge what we can find. And sometimes it's just a name. Sometimes it's the whole character, the whole story, a part of the story, for example. But we try to set everything like from a base from the past. and make this universe is like a planet. If you think in a way, it's like a planet, and in this planet lives people, and this planet has these rules, and we just need to remember the rules of the planet and what kind of people lives in there, and try to place like people and environments in there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I need to do one of those binder things, because that looks really useful. I do everything digitally at the moment, and it's much harder sometimes to search through all your digital stuff and find where that character was or whatever. And so I think having just a physical thing that you can flick through and get straight to the character section and look through there, that would be really helpful. I'm gonna have to do that.
I encourage you to do it, because this is a consequence from being a really old person. because I'm not so young, and when I start making things, I didn't know how to draw digitally, so I start making things like physically in pencil and pen, and this is why I keep everything in the folder. But I was in a talk made by David Fernandez Huertas from Us2, and he showed to the audience how they manage like the inspiration and mood boards in the studio, and they had these physically entities in the studio. They are like a huge panels of I don't know which material it is. It's a white carton board, and they got all the pictures stick on it. And the office it's full of them.
Yeah.
So everyone can be like really visually into looking at the mood and those inspiration boards. So I think it's a really cool thing if you can allow to have these visual, like in real world visual things to look at it when you need it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can see that being really useful. Just to come back, actually I forgot what the starting question was to kick off this discussion.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about that. Oh, Ben, what did we?
It was about world building, I think.
Oh yeah.
So what about you? Yeah.
So yeah, with Strange Horticulture, we very much started with the world. Well, I mean, we started with the name, but in terms of approaching the narrative, we built the game first, really, and actually Undermere came first. The idea for Undermere, that was a different game project that got scrapped. We started this world of Undermere, and it was very different back then, but just that setting came through. And then we built this world and we put factions in it. We've got these different groups like the Seeds of Redemption and the Sisterhood of Arduino and stuff like this. So we built the groups, and our characters actually started off as just having different roles. Like we had the occult scholar and the investigator and these various different characters, and then we kind of tried to work out how you put a narrative in there, and that was something that we haven't done a lot of in the past, so that was a new challenge for us, but it was something that we really enjoyed, and we learned a lot doing it, and hopefully we'll get better at it as we approach the next project.
Well, we've talked a lot about characters, so my initial question was, what do you think makes a good character? But I'm gonna rephrase that to, what are you looking for when you create a character, both like visually and narratively, or when it comes to writing?
I think the most interesting characters, like the people that we're interested in the real world, are the strongest characters or the most vibrant characters. Like they're the ones that have quite extreme views sometimes, perhaps, or like fierce convictions. So I tend to try and give a character like a clear identity, I guess. I guess that's why we started out with the roles for our characters, because it gives you kind of something to stick on them and say, okay, this is what they are, and then you can go in and give them a bit more nuance beneath that. I mean, in games, sometimes I find it quite hard for a character to really shine through, because it's not like a film where the character is the central point. The gameplay is the central point in a game, sometimes you maybe have to work a little bit harder, and it's, as I said before, it's something that we're still learning how to do, but I'm certainly interested in your guys' approach to it.
We well, at least when I start, because our system is something like I draw the character, I make like a visual design, and Javi, who is in charge of the narrative, he makes this profile for the character. We all agree on that, and when this kind of basis is agreed in everyone at the team, we proceed to go on with this character forever. And for me, when I am thinking about the design, I always try to make the character memorable and with a lot of charisma. I think, I don't know, I think it's like a really cool trait, at least in our universe. People really like when a character has like lots of charisma, and I try. I don't know if I succeed or not making characters with charisma. I think we in a way we do, because there's people with our characters tattooed on them. So I guess
that's the dream, isn't it? That's so cool.
we got it. Yeah. So I think if you give them like something visually that's iconic, people can take these iconic traits of the character, and that gives them the chance to make fan arts from different kinds of styles, and to put like some of them in the character too. So for us that we are making narrative games, I think it's really cool to make the characters a little bit empty, not super empty, because that makes that makes the character not really appealing. But if it's like enough for the people to fill some gaps, people really feel really invested in the character and really feel like, oh my god, it's literally me. So we really like this idea for the people to put their part in making the character in their minds. So this is what we try to do every time we create a character. At least our main characters are that kind of way.
Yeah, I think we have we involuntarily found a way to cheat a little bit, because all of our characters are little girls, so they're pretty young, and for the most part, they know what they want from almost the beginning of the story. So on one side, we don't need to establish a super deep background for them, because when you're a child, you haven't experienced most of things in life. So your experiences are limited to, I don't know, you go to school, you have some friends there, and then there's your parents and maybe someone in your family, but you have a limited life experience on the most part. And yeah, on the other side, we established from the beginning, so this girl has these special abilities, and she will be using them to do this. And yeah, I think we cheat a bit with not having to establish like a deep background. For example, in Strange Horticulture, some of the characters you discover as you advance in the game. I don't know, past relationships, what they were doing years ago, and you have a turn in the story, and you discover that these two characters were related years ago, and they have this. You know, I think we tend to skip this luckily, and we focus on developing other things like the charisma, the visual aspect, or the iconic personality of these girls.
Yeah, I mean, thinking of your main character, or the girl character in CLeM, like, I think it goes back to what I was saying and what you guys are saying about this charisma thing, that she is this really strong character. She's, she's clearly some sort of force there. She's got something interesting about her, and I think that's what we're drawn to. She's quite an extreme character. Like, I haven't got all the way through the story yet, but I'm already intrigued to see like what she's up to, basically, because she's definitely intriguing.
Yeah, I think all the psychotic girls fit this description of she's strong, she's got it, maybe she's just having some dilemmas or troubles right now, but she's got it mostly all figured out, and she knows how to solve the problems, and she'll go for it.
Yeah.
Right, and we've talked a lot about writing, about the visuals, the art behind games. How do these things then finally flow together and maybe give way to each other and influence each other with game design and when actually designing the game?
Well, as I was saying earlier, for us it's the game comes first. So yeah, we might have ideas about the setting and the theme. Like the theme is probably more important, I'd say, than narrative and all that sort of stuff. Again, just for us, in terms of being like a pillar that you can design the game with that in mind. So obviously on Strange Horticulture it was a very strong theme of plants and the natural world. So then that informs a lot of the elements that go into the game. A lot of our puzzles and the gameplay in general was focused around that theme. And then, yeah, in terms of narrative, that again follows on from the theme, and it's trying to let that not get in the way of the gameplay, I suppose, is the important thing, but kind of enhance it in some way so that it gives you that extra motivation to to explore the world a bit more, and makes just I guess enriches the experience, and not every player is there for that experience. Some players just want the gameplay and they don't care about the story, so that's another thing that we're always conscious of. We don't want to do these massive cutscenes that take 5 minutes or whatever, and people just get bogged down in that, because then not everyone is here for that. Or like there is a lot of reading in Strange Horticulture, but that's part of the gameplay. Part of the gameplay is reading stuff and interpreting that, and then working out what plant fits that description. So it's okay to have that reading, because it's part of it, and then you pick up some of the story from that. But we didn't want to have like a page of text that you have to read, and you can't skip through it or anything. So like you mentioned, we have these backstories to some of the characters. Well, those are optional. You don't have to read through the backstories of the characters. So yeah, that's the kind of balance that we're trying to strike.
On CLeM's side, I think narrative came first, and then the puzzle design and different mechanics had to adapt to it, because from the beginning we had a more or less a clear idea of what the main story would be about. What I don't want to spoil anything, but we just knew what was this girl's backstory and more or less where we were headed to. So we also knew that insects and plants, in this case, also had to. We're going to have like a lot of weight in the game, but yeah, I think we went a different route, because I think Strange Horticulture has this super strong base mechanic of discovering new plants and trying to find the perfect plant for each customer or for each situation, and it was strong enough to be the lead force in the game as it develops. In our case, we didn't have like strong idea of I have had this idea for this mechanic, and I want to develop it along the game. So what we tried to do was just find nice puzzles and some mechanics that could work along the way, but they had to be different because you keep discovering these new rooms and these new magic toys, and we wanted this variety here. So we try to develop the puzzles to fit the narrative more than having a main core mechanic. But that being said, as I was playing Strange Horticulture, I was surprised by we have a lot of parallels for them being two games that had not been in contact at any point in the development. I found it super fun to keep discovering these parallels. In fact, if you look at the horticulture book in Strange Horticulture and how it describes the different plants and their properties and how you can use them, and then you play CLeM and you open the notebook and you see all the insects and their descriptions and which magic properties they have, you may think that maybe we were in contact at some point in the development. But no, it wasn't like this. In fact, this kind of working out what plant to use is like the main mechanic in Strange Horticulture. But in CLeM, it's one of the mechanics, but it's not as strongly rooted in the development of the game. So I don't know, cool things.
Again, what I loved about the book in CLeM, it's rich. There's loads of cool stuff in there. But again, you don't have to read that. Like it's extra richness for the people that want it. And I think it's really cool to have that sort of stuff that. It's almost an optional extra, but some people are going to love that stuff and get a lot out of it.
I am agree, because I was going to say you that I really love playing Strange Horticulture, that you don't force me to read the note the moment I got this new information about this new plant. I can just keep it in the book, and later if I will need to scroll everything and read everything, because I don't read it in the first time, but that's on me. So that's cool, because it's an option that you don't need to read everything. You don't need to solve everything. I finished the game without solving, I think, a couple of things. I just get one ending, I know, but I think anyway, it's kind of satisfactory anyway if you just play once and you finish the game once. You solve already a lot of things, so you have this option. It's a really nice option if you want to keep trying to unveil different endings and different stories and different outcomes for the people. I think this is a really good thing you guys do.
Thank you.
All right, well, I feel like I've gone through the bulk of my sometimes tricky questions. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't know. I just took a couple of notes as I was playing, but they are more like curiosities or things that I thought, what the heck? Because as I was saying before, I think that if you play one game after the other, and some people may think that
Yeah,
we were
that
friends
we
or
copied.
something. Because yeah, just a couple curiosities. One of well, if I spoil something, you cut this from the final video,
Yeah,
right?
just add some beep 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 beep, beep redacted
But
noise on it, and I think we are fine.
yeah, just a couple things. One of them is when I read that one of the characters' name was Thea, and I was like, how can that be? Because we have a statue of the Titaness Thea in our greenhouse, and
Yeah.
and I was thinking, man, of all the names possible, we picked the same name to appear in the game. I don't know, and I was already feeling this connection with the notebook, with the descriptions, and with the way these descriptions give like hints or things you have to interpret in some way or another at some point. And I was like, man, too many coincidences.
Yeah, that is crazy. I hadn't realized there were those other connections as well. But I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier about creativity in general and how like you draw on all sorts of different sources of inspiration. You don't really know necessarily where all this stuff comes from. There's this phenomenon that I find really interesting that happens in film quite well. It happens where just out of the blue, it seems, you suddenly get 2 or 3 films that come out within a very short period of time that have the exact same theme or like just really common things going on there. And how does that happen? Like I'm struggling to think of examples now that I've brought this up, but the one that comes to mind is Finding Nemo and Shark Tale. Like they both came out at the same time, basically. And there are tons of examples of that.
Yeah, there was this the movie The Prestige, I think it was.
Yes,
called.
and The Illusionist. Yeah.
Yeah, they came like at the same time.
Yeah.
And people were confusing one movie with the other because they were.
I was.
So you see? And
Yeah.
and I think it happened again when the American Hustle, I think it was called, came out at the same time, and another movie that also talked about about money and corruption, and they were like super.
The Big Short, maybe.
Yeah, The Big Short and American Hustle like came at the same time, and they were also similar, but not only in the plot, but I know the cinematography and the kind of characters, they were super similar, and it's like they did the same movie almost.
Yeah, it's funny how that sort of stuff happens. So I wonder if there's some kind of something like that going on with our games. Oh, I think in particular after, I don't know if it was something to do with lockdown and the pandemic or whatever, but we feel like there's been almost an explosion of cozy games and particularly kind of slightly dark cozy games and particularly stuff with plants in. So I don't know if there was something of that going on. But what I find really cool though is that although we do have some similarities clearly in some of the elements of the games, they're completely different games. Like you never confuse them, and I think even more so in games than any other medium. There's this huge potential for just all sorts of different stuff to exist in a similar space.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
It's all destiny.
Yeah, because it's really fun because we didn't anticipate to be together working with Iceberg. So that's really fun because I think we know the game for a long time, but we didn't play it, and for sure it was not an inspiration when we start working 3 years ago, because the game
It didn't
wasn't
exist
already
3
out.
years ago. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really fun that we finally get together here.
Yeah.
in this Q&A.
All right. Well, this is the part where I'm going to let you plug your games.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, you go.
No. You first, Rob.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I've been chatting about, Strange Horticulture is a kind of cool, dark, cozy mystery game where you identify plants and you have a black cat that you can pet as well. It's a very important part of the game. So yeah, go check it out on Steam and Nintendo Switch and Xbox, and can I say coming soon to other places? Oh, have we
Yeah, it's
mentioned
out.
that it's coming to PlayStation? I don't know if we've definitely mentioned that it's coming to mobile.
So our game CLeM is going to be released on February 6th. And yeah, it's going to be on Epic, GOG, Steam, of course, and also Nintendo Switch. So if you want to play a really cool Puzzlevania game full of mystery, dark secrets, magic, toys, alchemy, CLeM is your game.
We also have a cat, but you may have some trouble trying to pet it.
Yeah, it's a little bit skinny, I think, to pet him.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was a great Q&A, I think. Yeah, if you want to learn more about CLeM and Strange Horticulture, you can, of course, hop on the Steam page or follow us on socials. If you have more questions, if you want to talk to people about these games, you can always hop on the Iceberg Interactive Discord or the Mango Protocol Discord. And yeah, thank you for watching.